Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Shadowverse. So, I did a little bit of research. I'm not sure I mentioned it in this context. Turns out about 3 months ago there was a anime that was started around Shadowverse, but oddly the anime is just kids playing the game on their cell phone. It has nothing to do with the main story. Also, I would mention that we now have the crossover event happening, so the Code Geass characters are now challengeable as quests, and I've done that in my live streams. I found the beginner fairly easy, the expert easy on the first try, and then very difficult on the next try because there was a special quest here to win without playing a spell, and that was very difficult to do. And then the expert elite Charles enemy you can only challenge once per day, so you have to be fairly well good at playing the game, and certainly I'm not at that point yet. Is there anything else to really mention? Not really. I can say that the Code Geass cards, one of the cards they are playing is one of the cards that one of the characters that is mentioned in the story. So I'm starting to hit a point where I can recognize some of the characters from the main story showing up in the card game. And I had some daily quests, so I did play like one stage on Erica's, but I'm really just gonna let them stack up and we're just gonna run through the story. So this should be Isabel's part of the story. I think we kind of know where this is gonna go. Unfortunately, I guess you have to look at Purgation every time, even though it seems like it's the same intro every time.
These disturbers of serenity.
Honestly, it might be better just to skip these, but in all fairness, I've forgotten about it by the time I've gone through the 12 other chapters in the episode. But yeah, I think we pretty well know that Isabel is going to end up with the mages, more than likely, and her magic, her alchemy magic, is going to play an appealing, interesting role with the Mages Guild. And the Mages Guild will probably have a fight with some other guild, maybe one of the guilds we've seen before, maybe not. And we'll probably get kind of the exact same story, or a very similar story to what we've seen with the other two leaders, if I was to guess.
Where am I? Have I arrived?
Hey! Hey you!
Huh?
Yep, no surprise there. You can tell by the voice alone. Interesting, they gave her a
flowers grow in this world.
full
Some grow beyond the blue, and I am one such flower.
full image
Gaze
there
upon me
with
in
a
awe
background
and
integration.
reverence, for I am... I'm tired of this. Who are you supposed to be?
No. Who are you?
See, I think that was probably supposed to be like a
I've
reference
just made a
to
hypothesis.
like
I'll do you
a
favor and reveal it.
one of the old
Huh?
Japanese
You've
Sentai
come
shows,
here from another dimension,
like
or
Sailor
another
Moon
world, or whatever you
or,
want to call it. Here are the three bases
Tuxedo
for my conjecture.
Masks,
First, there's your appearance. A single glance reveals that you're
where they
not
would
from
give a
Syria.
speech from the rooftop talking about how
There's
who they
also
were.
no way that I could be unacquainted with someone of your social class, which is evidenced by the quality of the cloth and adornments that you're using. But the way you act
Big
is
word.
downright bizarre.
She's barely even been there
And
5
more than
seconds.
anything
How
else,
could you
that
observe her
spell, or should
act?
I say technique or method? I've never seen anything quite like it. But at any rate, it's what brought you here. To think there could be a type of magic I don't know? How
See,
preposterous!
and this really is just opening
An
up
uncommon
the
appearance,
question about
incomprehensible
how
behavior,
old
and
is
an
this
impossible
character?
means of movement.
Is
My
she just
conclusion is,
tiny?
therefore,
Is she like 100 years old and she put a spell on herself to look young and it went haywire? Or
This girl supposed to be?
maybe
No
maybe
sooner did she
she
fall from the sky than she starts bending my ear.
maybe she intentionally has a spell on herself to make herself look like a child.
Who on earth are you?
Why are you asking me a second time? There's a way that things are done, and now it's time to exchange names.
Ah, I
Weird.
see.
Weird way
My
of
name
talking.
is Eleanor Gloria. I am the Marshal of the Magus Covenant.
And she's a
the
marshal.
greatest mage in all Isunia. Who are you?
Does she have a
I'm
sword
Isabel.
or something that proves her
Compared
to
with
be the
my
marshal?
introduction, yours has a pronounced dearth of information. Is this your first time introducing yourself to another person? Or perhaps in your world, this is simply the way that things are done. In that case, I too will...
She sure talks a
I am
lot like a...
palatial mage. I'm from another world, just as you said.
I don't know why she calls herself a
I figure
palatial
as much,
mage.
since I'm typically correct.
I don't
Next,
know what that would
allow me to
mean.
conduct an experiment based on my hypothesis.
So who's the
Does
under
that girl
marshal
really believe that I'm
amongst
from
the
another
mage
world?
breeds?
I can't say
groups?
I understand her, but this works well enough. Do you know of Nexus? I'm pursuing her.
What a handful you are. Did I not just tell you that there's a way things are done?
What's the meaning of this?
So it
I
does
don't believe in
seem
gods,
like
But if I were to make a rhetorical flight of fancy, I'd say that it's a heavenly blessing to be able to experience another world's magic.
it does
A
feel like
one-of-a-kind opportunity, so to
Eleanor
speak.
is just
You seem
childish
capable of using
and
magical powers whose
obnoxious.
character is similar to ours, though not wholly
only
identical.
interested in
What do you use as a
experimenting and
catalyst,
learning more
and what do you
information
cast?
for
This is
their
terribly
own good.
fun.
Why all of this so suddenly?
Heaven doesn't send a signal before it sends a blessing. This shouldn't be so bad from your perspective anyway, seeing as how
Yeah.
my magic's this world's best. I'm a worthy flower indeed.
See, it almost feels like Eleanor, maybe in Japanese, if you was saying words here that made even less sense, and it made her seem almost completely uncomprehendable, and then they've localized it down to the point where it seems like she's just talking a lot and saying things in kind of big words and flowery language. But yeah, she does kind of almost come off as crazy in the way she talks. And it would be pointless to predict that they were going to end up fighting each other, because of course
How can she draw
that
so
was going to
much power
happen.
simply by reading a grimoire? And this magic of hers seems to be interfering with gravity. All that by herself without even voicing a single spell.
All right, I think I've got it. Allow me to summarize. Your magic is fascinating. You inhale magic from the air, relay it through your body, and then form magic circles, whereupon your magic circles calculate the output and activate. That much I understand, but nothing
Is
any
that how
deeper
that
is
really
clear.
works?
And that's why it's fascinating. To be frank, I'm flabbergasted. To think that there is actually a form of magic that surpasses my understanding. However, the most fascinating thing of all is you yourself. You were immediately able to grasp my magic and then resist. Given a few seconds, you'd likely have broken my gravity, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but
Perhaps fascinating isn't the most fitting expression, because my impartial interest is turning to goodwill.
huh?
Isabel, you must join the Magus Covenant. We welcome you. You're likely unable to understand, but membership in our guild is a supreme honor. Once you've understood, you'll thank me. Now come on!
So yeah, she kind of just forces her into the group.
Where are we going?
how great your power might be, you don't know everything about this world. I'll show you around. Come on,
Yep.
this way.
And they're gonna just go
Pulling.
around
You
and
must hurry, Isabel.
and
Today is sure to be an
visit the
especially busy
entire
day.
city, I guess. And like everybody ends up walking around the city. Everybody ends up in joining a guild. The same points are just gonna be hit upon over and over again.
Isabel, I have very little interest in phenomena that have already been explained. I'm therefore going to proceed with a summary explanation. You have set foot in the capital of the land of Isunia. I doubt that
So we kind of saw her in this area before, but we didn't see Isabel.
Allow me to focus on the most pronounced characteristics. First, the canals. These have been dug all throughout the capital, and they serve as our primary means of transportation. The water in the canals also contains a slight amount of magic. Look,
You're right. It's glimmering.
it's this magic that allowed Isunia to outcompete the other lands. Isunia's waters are, in a manner of speaking, the land's circulatory system. Next, the guilds. Isabel, is the land you were in before a monarchy?
Yes, the state was ruled by one person.
Isunia is a rather different sort of place. The ruler here is not a single person, but rather 5 guilds.
We've seen
As in professional organizations?
kind of
Yes, that sort of thing.
2, maybe
I'll
3 of
spare you the
them.
Details. All you need to remember now is the Magus Covenant, the guild that I am in charge of.
It's kind of
Magus
pointless to
Covenant.
call something a covenant when it's a guild.
Our guild conducts research day in and day out. It's a truly wonderful thing. Magic wielders, be noble is our motto.
Oh, so you're working for the progress of this land?
No, that's not it. This land's progress doesn't interest me at all.
Yeah,
What? But this
There-
guild
there's
is owning
certainly-
land, isn't it?
I was simply able to find my place at the top on account of having power. This land couldn't mean less to me.
it does seem like there's just kind of a greed for knowledge,
Research, naturally.
Which
our mission is to refine our interests with knowledge
would
and
be
carry out our moral duties.
in line, I guess,
Politics and governance are jobs
with
for
Isabel's greed for
I
Kyle.
see.
Uh,
There seems to be something honest in the way that she
Although-
only thinks about herself. It's a bit frightening, but
but yeah, you can
Is that
definitely
anything to
see
be
that they
surprised
have
about? Your
had
magic
a
has
similar
scent reminiscent of my
demeanor
own.
and attitude where they only
you're
think of
right. It
themselves.
shouldn't be a surprise.
And
I did everything possible to bring Kyle back to life. Threw everything away. Friends didn't matter to me, and neither did the crown.
My explanation is now complete. Do you have any questions?
so it almost feels like
Well,
perhaps this entire world is just a fake world where
what is that?
it's designed by
Is that supposed to be one of your questions?
just
by
answer me.
Nerva
That's a
to
pseudo-organism,
bring
typically
each of the
referred to as a magical life form.
leaders
Its
back
body is
to
made
their
by
old
mixing the water
habits.
of Isunia with mystical twigs, pure silver, and honey, and then instilling the mixture with magic.
You're certainly knowledgeable. Is that to say that these magical life forms are common in this town?
It's not as if they're always here. It's only when we conduct experiments and aren't able to obtain the desired results that they appear. One might call them badges of failure. Accordingly, their lives are ephemeral things of just a few hours long. If we were to find specimens that could abide for longer, we might be able to develop them, but alas.
It's coming this way.
Magical life forms want life energy. It's perhaps only natural that they attack other living things in order to absorb them.
Only natural? What are you saying?
So I
Even
guess
if it does succeed in absorbing you, you'll merely feel tired for a bit. There's no real harm.
so apparently these things are fairly
They're
harmless.
Very sticky though, and I rather dislike that. I'm therefore going to prepare for attack. What about you?
Me? What do you think?
So they create these creatures, they might run around and they might suck the energy out of people. but they don't seem like they are actually anywhere as big of a threat, at least according to her, as the blade rights made out.
That one seems more vigorous than previous specimens. Yes, my apprentices and guild are great indeed. Even as they stand at the world's apex, they continue to grow.
Yep.
I don't want to make
She really is
assumptions, but
a
make it sound as
great
if that
example of a
contradicts your
terrible
work.
leader.
Of course not. If I were to make it, it wouldn't have turned out like that.
So she's letting all of her
It's the product of my apprentices.
apprentices.
Isn't that the same thing? So the purpose of your guild is to create monsters?
Of course not. The perfection of pseudo-organisms is but one of our many plans.
So maybe at some point here we'll see the main leaders of the story take over the guilds and become the new leaders.
The world upside down?
To transform
There
mysteries into
is
masteries
definitely
and the impossible to the possible.
a good argument that
And why is that what you want?
these new leaders could be the
That's just the way I was
replacement
born.
leaders,
Huh.
particularly
Why?
in her character.
This girl is talking madness, and yet for some reason I find myself drawn into her eyes.
Isabel, you have one too, don't you? Some sort of goal?
I also feel like maybe
Yes, I
Nerva
have a goal of
is
sorts too.
brainwashing the
No,
leaders
I should
to
say I had
make
one.
them
Now
be
I'm not
like
so sure.
subconsciously drawn
Then it would suit
to
us
the
work
different
together
guilds.
to fulfill our goals and to find new goals. You're sure to grow at any rate. And above
Because
all,
I would
entertain
think
me. I'll
it
never
would
have
be
another
much more
chance
of
to
a
be
natural
removed from another
story
world. I
if
can't allow this
all
opportunity to slip
8 of the
away.
original
So you mean to
leaders
say that
just
you'd like to
locked
use me as an
into a group
instrument in
and
your
stayed
experiments?
together in a new world. Because
I
there
could
would just be
communicate
this
that in a
us versus
roundabout
them
way.
mentality that I think
did a
humans would
terrible job.
naturally
That's what I
turn
get
to.
for stepping out of my comfort zone.
I don't know whether she can be trusted. She might even get in my way.
This is too much dialogue at this point.
There's no denying this girl's power.
In general,
And then
like,
that's what she says.
with just
Turn
like
the
too
world
much
upside
dialogue
down. If she
for
were
the
to do
main
that, then Kyle
story.
and I would-
Eleanor, we have a problem on our hands.
Is it them?
Yes, ma'am. Due to some carelessness on our part.
Failure is one of experimentation's many children. What need is there to apologize? I'll go see things for myself.
I beg your pardon.
What is it now? I'm going to step away for a bit, Isabel.
That's fine.
Curious what's going on? It's just taking care of the everyday stuff, the nuts and bolts. I've already committed the scent of your magic to memory, so feel free to wander anywhere in the capital. I'll return soon.
That
They seem like they have
reminds
kind
me
of
of
like a
Love Sack Mom.
water-based teleport
I
ability.
came here to find Nexus. That was my little goal. But Eleanor Gloria, the Magus Covenant. If they can really turn the world upside down, then maybe there's a chance they could do something for Kyle.
I don't know what she's really hoping to do for Kyle in particular. Like, best case scenario is that his soul goes wherever souls go in their world after they defeat Nexus, or has already gone wherever souls go. So yeah, I don't know if she thinks she can actually bring him back to life again, and she's back on that
She
mentality,
said that I could go anywhere, but
or if she
I
thinks
have
she
nowhere to
can
go. I have no idea what to do.
help his soul pass to the other side. Well, here's Luna,
You're weird.
and a new character.
Luna! It's you. Luna, you're here in this world too. Come to think of it, it was a bit odd that none of the others were here. We did all leap to this world together.
Half of these people are magical, by the way.
As long as nothing interferes. Let's
So,
go.
Isabel would be very
Could something really
capable
interfere?
of just shooting up flares into the air, so the other people would know where to
I've gotta go.
find her.
Wait, Luna! Where is it you're going?
All there is this guy, so I'm going with him.
This guy?
Yeah, Luna's response of "I don't know"
Harmless enough,
happens
but for some reason
often,
something doesn't feel right.
over and over again.
Luna, you should come with me then. That way. Ah! What was that? Did he cast some sort of magic? It didn't seem like that.
Yeah, I can't even figure out what this guy is doing.
If I don't put up a fight, he'll stomp all over me. Are we going to do this?
Might as well. See, I just woke up, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to take it easy on you.
So yeah, I have no idea what
Please stop. She's my...
what he's supposed to be. If he's like a
I can just tell that he's dangerous.
vampire
So this is what
or
I have to do.
werewolf or magical
Please
character.
stop. Don't fight.
And see, now I'm excited to
Luna, stay out of the
see
way.
Luna's
That man is
story, but we won't see their story for a while.
Try this on for size. Ugh. Who is this man? No matter how much I throw at him, he just won't go down. He doesn't even
He
have a
might be like a
scratch.
zombie of some sort.
Your magic's not from this world. You must be the same as Luna.
You're through.
So you weren't trying to challenge me then. Sorry about that.
You're kidding. I was hitting you with everything that I had.
You want to come along?
And where do you suggest we go?
That I haven't decided.
I'm afraid I have to say no then.
It'd be interesting if he's like gonna end up to be the rightful leader of the country, or he is the rightful
Luna,
leader of
do
the
we
country.
really have to stay together with that person?
I don't know. He's just really nice.
See, and I don't know if she has a crush on him, or if she has kind
I
of
know I shouldn't be worrying
a
about Luna, but still.
desire for like a big brother
So you weren't
type
trying to challenge me then.
character,
Sorry
or
about
both. Being Japanese, being a
He's not
Japanese
human.
story, that's not out
He's
of
some
the
sort of monster.
question.
I've never seen anything like it before. Eleanor Gloria, that man. They're the people that make up this other world. If I were able to have even a fraction of their power, then... Kyle, can I still wish for you?
Yep. So it seems like they're just gonna hit on that thought over and over again, that she's gonna get distracted and try and get power from this world to try to bring back Kyle again.
Poor Luna. How long is she going to?
My poor sense of time is one of my few faults. I owe you an
It definitely is
apology,
weird to learn that there is
Don't just
a
pop out in front of me like that.
well, there was at least one episode
Isabel,
of an
is what I should be
advertisement
saying to
for a
you.
Shadowverse anime, and it's just basically Yu-Gi-Oh! When they already have this main story, and they could have just had that be reanimated, so that there was actual full motion.
In other words, my movement was not mere happenstance, but rather
Although,
an
in all
inevitability.
fairness, the
That was
problem
not
with
the
this
case
main
though.
story
Your movement
is
was happenstance through and
something they
through.
try to avoid, from what I heard,
That's why you struck
in
my
the
interest and
anime,
drew me here from beyond
because
the
in the
heavens.
anime they just jump into the card game
That
very
wasn't my
fast,
magic. It was
and they
something else.
highlight the card game. This
My
main story
analysis
is
of that
failing
matter is already complete.
horribly
When
to
we
really
first met,
let you
though,
jump
I
into
came
the
to an
card
ample
game.
understanding of your
The
magical
best case
character.
scenario is that you will do
I
a
see.
chapter in the main story and get a bunch of
Let's put that
talking,
aside, though.
bunch of visual
The thing
novel
that's
stuff,
demanded of us
and
now
then
is
you'll get a
only
20 to
rapid
30
action is
minute
able to open new paths
game,
into the
perhaps.
future. Let's get going.
Then you'll be back to a bunch of
Going?
talking.
You mean go to your guild?
Yes, this more or less amounts to an order, but it's also a certain sort of proposition. I say that because the topic of conversation would benefit you greatly.
How can you say
And
that sort of thing?
there is
Because
definitely
your
something
mage,
about
every mage
Eleanor.
is driven by something, and every mage
like
is searching
something
for
about the way she
The
talks. She
magic's
just goes
covenant
on
is
too
able to
long,
provide a proper outlet
and
for
I
that
just
drive
don't
and
even
that
want to
search.
really pay attention to what she's
Let me
saying.
ask you then.
Yes.
Are you able to bring the dead back to life? Not as spirits or as undead, but fully back to life. Can you do that?
What do you consider full? The recreation of all constituent elements without a single one missing? Would it be enough to simply have the full soul or the flesh?
The soul. I should be able to create some sort of flesh to serve as a vessel. If we were able to summon his soul without causing it to deteriorate.
So to recapitulate, we'd like to enclose a person's soul in a medium highly reminiscent of that person without causing any deterioration to the soul. That is a serious challenge.
That's correct. I've attempted necromancy plenty of times, but all that came of it were specters with a passing resemblance to Kyle.
It's likely that you were unable to draw the correct soul close to you. They are extremely difficult to work with. Even I'm unable to bind the soul of a specific person to a specific place. However, let me summarize. If it's not a perfect recreation of the flesh that you demand, there should be no limit to the possibilities. For instance, rather than dominating the soul as a necromancer, one might offer a dance as a shaman. That might also draw the soul near, not all at once, but
That's an interesting thought, but there's no shaman class in this
If
game.
we were to try that,
Isabel, we make the impossible possible. The instant that you met me, Eleanor Gloria, the impossible became possible.
all right. Thank you.
There's no need for expressions of gratitude, for we certainly both stand to gain something from this arrangement.
And see, what I'm thinking about
What
is,
should we do then?
if you were gonna try
your
something
input.
magical like this,
If I were to say no, you'd just take me along
I
anyway.
feel
wouldn't you?
like you would probably want to
Of course.
create a
But I
human
was
body
perhaps 2,000 times
the
magic you
old-fashioned
can.
way, and
I'm not going
take
to
a
say
part
no.
of a
I
soul
agree to go.
and
That's
or
very
a whole
convoluted
soul,
way to put things. Now
which
let's
would be
proceed.
kind of a twisted story
I'm
if
able to see
Isabel
even a bit of her
could
extraordinary magical power.
take Kyle's
I might be able to
soul,
see
put
Kyle
it in a
I thought that I should give up,
embryo,
but if there's even
and
the
then
littlest
carry
bit of
that
hope,
embryo to
I
term
don't
as a
want to let it
child.
slip away.
That's something.
Ah, yes. There was one thing that I almost forgot to say.
Or you could use half
Welcome,
Kyle's soul and
Isabel. This is
and have her
Isabel,
soul and
home
just
of shimmering
have a
dew
child
and
that way.
gills. This cosmic flower will serve as your guide.
Just way too much talking. I think it's probably about a third her voice and 2/3 the fact that she just got a lot of words she's saying with very little of it having any real substance. And I would think the whole story, frankly, could use a major
Incidentally,
edit.
Isabel, I've noticed some exhaustion in your magic. Why might that be? Did something happen while I was away?
So yeah, I would just say
Not quite sure how to explain, but this odd
I
man
would
appeared
just-
and I fought him.
edit everything down to about a
Odd
third
man.
as much talking.
Yes, there was something gloomy
Third
about
about
him,
as much
and he had a sort of monstrous
fighting
presence.
too.
Ah, that must be Nicola Adele.
You know him then?
He's known to all. That man is worthy of being named in the same breath as the Magus Covenant. Here, to the left, Isabel.
Got it. In that case, he must be a guild leader too.
So
That's correct. Our tastes, however, are a bit different. The Order of Blade Rights has several hundred members and Escamali, 50. The membership numbers of Counter Solari are unknown, and the Magus Covenant is composed of 30-some members.
so
The
these are
Forbidden
really
Guild
small
Nicola
numbers.
Adele, on the other hand, is made up of but a single person. That is to say that he is the guild marshal and the very guild itself.
Is that even possible?
Certainly it seems ridiculous, but there's no denying that it's fact. His single-handed power is comparable to that of any of the other 4 guilds. That
Interesting.
means, however, that my interest in you grows only greater. To think that you could fight against Nicola Adele without suffering any serious wounds.
He didn't seem to be very passionate.
That's how he always is. He is uncombative, and yet he destroys. It's for that reason that he's referred to as forbidden, as the one who must not be disturbed.
Interesting.
Oh, a magical life form.
You're quick on the uptake. This is yet another piece of the Magus Covenant's wisdom, but there's no reason for concern. This beast wouldn't simply go on a rampage for no reason. I'm back, and I have a guest. Prepare to welcome her.
Welcome back, Eleanor. The preparations are already complete.
Yeah,
Very well. Do you dislike tea?
don't really have anything to say here.
Difference if you do, but nonetheless.
You don't need to ask then. Tea will be fine.
So it feels like if
I will
Nicola
accompany the
Adele
guest. The rest
is
I'll
a super powerful character, then
Very
Urias
well,
the
ma'am.
vampire
Please,
will
make
almost
yourself
certainly
at
try to
home.
fight him at
We
some
will be
point.
proceeding with the magical experiments.
This lab is huge, but it's so well put together. Almost everything here seems new.
A messy
And
environment
Nicola
causes
Adele,
needless
I guess,
delays
is
with the experiments.
the
Only
calmer,
in the proper soil can the
more
flowers of
sleepy
research bloom.
opposite to Eleanor,
Please
who
have a
seems to
seat
be
there.
Thank you.
full of energy
Sugar.
and a desire to learn new things.
There's no need to hold back. Sprinkle it in and gulp it up.
This sugar is all stuck together.
You're certainly very picky.
Hmm.
Allow me to ask you once again, Isabel, how you came to this world.
At least they did us the favor of
Keep
fading
your
out and
nexus,
fading
and the
in. They
world
should have used that a
puts-
lot more.
In order to revive our world, we hunted down Nexus and jumped to this world.
So, is Nexus here? No, there's no way that she could be. According to what you've said, Nexus is incapable of disguising herself as a common person.
As far as they
Yes,
know,
Unless, that is, she has some sort of power that we don't know about.
Then perhaps you should jump to the next world. You don't have any use for this one.
That's not exactly right. It seems that there are lessons for me to learn here, and I still haven't managed to reunite with the others.
You all wanted to cross together even though your goals and ideas were different?
About that.
What name did you have for that again? Friendship. Oh, or was it trust? It seems like an inefficient way of doing things.
wow, is this a world that where
To meet me
the
at a
idea
time
of
such as
friendship or
this is
trust doesn't
truly a stroke
exist?
of good fortune for you. If that bunch had picked you up, you'd be in no position to be thinking about Nexus now.
What are you talking about?
The drums of war have been beating in this land of late. If you'd joined any guild other than the Magus Covenant, you'd have been swept up into combat.
War? Are you shipping out again, Kyle? It's dangerous. You could die.
Sorry, Isabel, but my comrades are fighting out there. I need to be there with them.
Why? What for?
It's hard to say, but the preparations are already underway. Fortunately, we're not involved, so there's nothing to concern yourself with.
I beg your pardon for the intrusion. We have a visitor, Eleanor. How would you like me to proceed?
Who is it? Escamali?
Precisely.
Let them in.
So
The
I
guest
guess
and
we'll
will take care of them.
see who the Escamali are.
I come to you as the scales of balance.
Oh,
I do
they're
hope
kind
you're
of
well,
like-
Eleanor Gloria.
They're kind of religious, aren't they?
Unfortunately, you've ruined my mood at this very
Political
moment.
slash religious.
I'm here on an investigation initiated by the Order of Blade Rights. Please, allow me to ask you 2 or 3 questions.
No. As you can see, I'm in the middle of tea. If there's something you'd like to ask, Isabel will answer you.
Me?
Yeah, but keep quiet and answer him with magic.
I don't have any intention to fight.
Very well. Let the inquiry begin.
Huh?
I saw what you were capable of doing, but I need some sort of objective proof. And besides, I'm enjoying my tea. This is you, Isabel.
So she's literally just
Really,
throwing her.
If I do this, it'll be enough, right?
Yes, that's all you need to do. Seeing that you're now a member of the Magus Covenant, I hope that you won't embarrass us in battle.
And apparently this guy doesn't even have an attack stance.
Ha! This battle's over. I don't know what you're thinking, but it's time to quit.
You're right. But I don't know how I'm going to face Marlone after this.
Tell him that we're not responsible, and neither are the Order of Blade Rights. It was all a simple accident. If there's a price that must be paid for the accident, the Magus Covenant will pay in the form of a donation.
All right. In that case, there's no issue.
So clearly the Esquimali are getting bullied
So you needn't worry.
by the Magus Guild.
My oh my, they never just get to the point.
Who was that anyway?
Oh, it was Esquimali. They're the mediators and liaisons for guilds. Conflicts between guilds are controlled and managed by Esquimali, at least on the surface. As a matter of fact, they're not much more than extortionists. When anything happens, they look for someone to take responsibility and then demand a donation to pay for the loss. Things are set up so that the more conflicts there are between guilds, the richer they get. They're an irritating bunch who like to call themselves the Guild of Regulation.
Then why did you make me fight
It's an
that man?
interesting
Wouldn't it have been better to make me slip him some money and
argument.
send him off? Did you really want to judge my power in action?
That's one part of it, but it isn't everything. I wanted to give him some sort of excuse to leave. At least on the surface, they're in charge. He encountered our resistance and was forced to settle things with a fine. That's the way they have to do things in order to make money.
I see. They're very crafty.
Well, every guild has its own way of looking at things.
Is that why these conflicts happen?
So it almost comes down to
You don't need to worry.
the issue here that
Magus Covenant doesn't
each one of these
involve
guilds
any of that.
in the
Let
first
those dodos
part
battle
of this
amongst
story
themselves.
are gonna convince
Eleanor,
one of the leaders to
seems
join
there's a
them,
bit of an issue with
but
our
it's
magical experiment.
gonna fairly quickly become
Did someone
obvious
arrive
that
during
all the
magical
guilds are
conversion
corrupt
process?
and they're
Yes,
causing
please excuse me for
this
disturbing you
war,
during your meeting with the
which
guilds.
is almost certainly going to
No, things have
cost the
happened
lives
just as they
of the
should.
general
responsibility
populace,
is
the
mine.
non-guild
Please
members,
excuse me, Isabel, but I
way
have to leave for
more.
a moment.
That's no problem.
So
You should take
we
a look
definitely
around the
would want to see a
laboratory.
story
Feel free to
here
play with anything lying around. See you then.
where at least one of the leaders sides with none of the
Welcome in
guilds
lab.
and instead sides with the
What an awful tale. I've
the
come to another
average
world, been
citizens.
separated from my companions, and almost lost my will to live. Grimoires, elixirs, and experimental implements. My curiosity's killing me.
I also think she'd probably be
Well,
able to
I
do
did
some
get
kind of
permission.
magic spell to
I'm going to investigate
track
a bit until
people
she gets back.
or at least or like telepathically communicate with the other leaders. There'd ideally be something you could do to keep them from getting separated. Seems like they really didn't think things ahead or plan things through when they jumped through the gate.
I see. So if I just read this, then... but this book of practical spells seems like it could be tricky to use. Incantations. These are the source of her power. Well, I'll try this. Shard of Shame, Gate of Emeth, water be as blood, branches as bone, honey as flesh, and death as truth. Oh, that didn't feel quite right. But it's probably okay to call this a success.
Isabel, I'm back.
Welcome back. I was just killing time with some of the materials and instruments around here.
You were creating magical life forms in your spare time? You do seem to have a form of magical genius. However... You seem to have no organizational talent at all. What is the meaning of this?
There's no need to overreact.
Overreact? Why are there books scattered across the floor? There are instruments all over the place.
Don't you think it's a hassle to keep putting them back?
Wait,
So she just messed
what do I
up.
see under those books? Don't tell me that's a magic circle. You drew a magic circle right on the floor?
Well, yes. Is there something wrong?
I'm about to faint! You!
So she's a neat freak.
Ouch! Only in the proper soil can the flowers of research bloom! I told you that, didn't I? You! Ouch! Ow! Stop hitting me! You! Clean up! Sweep the floor this instant!
All right! Aren't you getting carried away?
No, this is horrible! Terrible! I think I'm going to faint! But before I do, please get rid of that thing.
See, and for a second there, I thought she was.
I don't think I did such a bad job of it.
She's going to.
It's not only not bad, it's in fact very good. It's tough to think that you made it in such a short time. It's truly lamentable.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe she could only make these life forms, and she was shocked when she did it.
You forgot to include the silver of reason. It's going to go berserk.
That must be what felt different about it.
I'll say this now. I won't allow you to create any further messes in my laboratory.
Remember, they did mention that
Don't
this
wanna
is
make commotion.
this
Got it.
is a sticky creature, so she doesn't want it to make a mess in the laboratory. Interesting. I feel like they should have played that up more, and probably from Japanese that would make a lot more sense if she is just this
I'm not sure how to
incredibly
feel, making
vain
this and
character
squashing
that
it right
is
afterwards.
obsessed with the appearance of herself
Wipe
and
it
her
up.
laboratory.
Come on, you really don't need to say that.
Enough already. Are you some sort of child? Hurry up and clean.
Ouch! All right, I get it already. See? All good now.
Nice try. There's still some dust left over there.
People must tell you you're fussy a lot.
And surely people must tell you your body and mind are slovenly. So listen up. Now that you're here, you're going to obey my rules.
I know. I'm not going to make any more messes.
Even if you need to make any more messes, don't. Only in the proper soil.
Can the flowers of research bloom? I'm tired of hearing that.
You impudent!
Ow! I only said I was tired of hearing it because it's the truth.
Your magical skills are solid, but you're incapable of anything else. Are all the mages in your world like this?
So this would be,
I don't know.
I guess,
but probably yes.
an interesting story if somehow
Mages are surely
a-
called pigs in laboratories, pigpens. How utterly hopeless.
if she somehow teaches some kind of form of like discipline to Isabel, when she herself doesn't really seem like she has enough discipline.
What's going on?
It kind of feels like she's supposed to be a Yoda to Luke
Surely you jest.
in
It
Star
was
Wars
mostly
equivalent.
stupid.
Urias Formond. What are you doing here?
Already you know my purpose well. I have come in search of the strong.
So you mean that you'd like to fight with Eleanor Gloria?
It remains to be seen whether this is worthy of being called a fight. I hope it may.
I see. Well, that's most unfortunate.
Oh?
A single glance reveals that you, like Isabel, have come from another world. Your flesh is clearly not that of a normal person. Fascinating. If such a thing were possible, I'd like to investigate you more closely. The overwhelming power that was able to topple my gatekeeper. This
So yeah, I'm not sure if this means she wants to dissect him or if she wants to sleep with him.
So this is your first time seeing a vampire?
A vampire. In this world, they only exist in fairy tales. This is growing more and more disappointing. But still, I'm about to knock you into nothingness. You'll be gone without a trace.
See, this would be interesting if they actually did kill him.
Huh? What is this?
You've entered my laboratory without permission. There can be no exceptions to the rules. You shall soon become dust, vampire. Return to the land of fairy tales from which you came.
So yeah, if they killed Urias, I'd be fine with it. Like his character really hasn't been built up that much anyways. But you need some kind of vampire character. So he'd have to bite somebody first.
Revealing one's techniques would spoil the revelry.
If you already know that, then keep your trap shut.
Of course, I'd kill Dragspear first
There's no point in getting in the middle
before
of
getting
that.
rid of Urias. And then
It's probably going to take a while,
maybe
so if you don't mind, allow me to
get
guide
rid
you
of
through the laboratory.
Erica or Orisa
I'd be
next.
grateful for that. Are you sure we don't need to stop them?
We couldn't
Or
do that
you
if we
could get rid
tried,
of Eris.
and Eleanor seems to be enjoying herself at any rate.
They say you vampires drink blood, but you'll never reach my neck that way. You'd be lucky to ever push me to the ground.
What I feast upon is my own concern. You need only to fall down before me.
That does seem to be the case. I'll follow after you.
Very well. This way.
And we're getting kind of the same story points where they
That
often
concludes
have
our
these
simple introduction to
conversations
cities.
with
Do
the
you have any questions?
underlings that reveal more about the
Well,
eleators that they wouldn't say
It's not
about themselves.
The laboratory, but
Please, ask away.
Here's the real question.
Thank
How
you.
old is
about
Eleanor?
her.
Like, how
For as
old
much
is
as she
her?
hates messes and destruction, she isn't holding back.
It's been a long time since I've seen Eleanor like that. Urias is quite mighty.
Mighty? Well, he's certainly in a league of his own. One more thing. There are 4 other guilds like ours, right?
Yes, Nicola Adele represents a slight exception, though.
As far as I can see, all seem very self-centered, including the Magus Covenant. How were you able to maintain any kind of balance?
Were? Don't you mean to say are?
Yes, there's going to be a war soon, she was saying that.
I see. My apologies for going off on a tangent. Allow me to answer then. Simply put, no guild has any intention of disturbing the balance.
How can that be, though? If one guild were to eliminate the others, they'd receive its status, its property, and everything else.
Yeah, there's that
The
question.
Order of Blade Right sees justice through, and it values protecting the people. Escamali doesn't have any clear way to battle, so they can't to begin with. Nicola Adele can't be bothered. Counter Solari is the most combative, but since they have few members, they're not generally involved in any large-scale activity.
And what about Magus?
Yes, we have no interest in status or property.
And that's the way that the balance of power is kept.
It is, however,
This is really a
falling apart
terrible system.
at the hands of Counter Solari. This is common knowledge.
Like,
What sort of guild is Counter Solari?
it really is
They
a
are,
terrible
in words,
system.
assassins,
because at
shadowy
any
figures who
point,
kill people for a price.
any warlike group
These
from a
days, they've
different
become
country
especially active,
seemingly could
so
just
much so that the townspeople are
take
getting
over the
anxious.
entire city
A
in
group
one
of
move.
assassins. They can't be left to their own accord.
I've heard that they are skilled not only in the art of assassination, but that they command an extraordinary form of swordsmanship. It sounds as if those two are finally finished.
I'm back.
Well done, ma'am. Isabel, I take my leave.
Thank you. The information you provided me is sure to come in useful. Are you hurt? Well, knowing you, I'm sure you're fine.
It was ultimately a draw of sorts. Or if I were to speak more precisely, my loss. I should have known better than to let ire and curiosity get the better of me. 2 bookshelves were damaged in the process. 5 whole books were bent, and the pages of one of those were torn. On top of that...
Well, what's done is done, right? What do you say we start experimenting?
Yes, that's the right course.
One of the things that
And that's exactly what I plan to
I
do.
think I would do if I ever had magic
First, though,
and there were magic books
Don't make
around,
a
just
mess, right?
look for a magic book that lets you
precisely. I still can't
magically
trust
read all
anything.
the other books very fast, or
All right.
just
What
have
sort of
them
experiment should we begin with?
magically put their knowledge into your head.
Just what you were looking for. The resurrection of the dead. It's a
I
topic
guess
that
in
fascinates me
the
as well.
modern world, in the
Let
real
us go
world, we
about
do
things
that with the
in that
internet
general way.
in general.
Are you sure? You don't stand to gain anything.
No, I stand to gain everything. Your words and actions are all strange and new to me. All shall therefore become my knowledge. Now, if our preparations are complete, let us commence our
I
experiment.
really feel like I've got nothing more to say, and there's so much more of the main story to talk about, to go through. I do kind of want to know it, but if someone offered me the abridged format of the story, I would take it, frankly. If there was
How simplistic
just a
of you.
YouTube video out
To
there
draw
that
a soul
broke
close, you
down
don't always need
the
an
entire main
intermediary,
story
you know. You simply have to
into
regulate
about
the
an
summoning
hour.
process.
Your procedures are too complicated. Even the magical infusion has 10 individual steps.
They're not complicated. They're precise. See, I've put the formula together now.
You should call me efficient, not simplistic. The circle's ready. Pour your magic into it.
1, 2, 3, 4. The pieces don't fit together.
They don't, do they? I'll have to jump in and adjust the magic levels.
So,
Yes.
so what are they
let's
gonna
try to
actually
improve things
accomplish?
by working in unison as a safeguard. Well then, let's chant, Isabel.
See,
From the abyss, show
this is
thyself.
really
We
weird.
call thy lifeless name to bring thee unto us. 4 legs, 2 eyes, teeth, and ears. Felis Sylvae.
And they're not trying to bring back Kyle,
It appeared. Alright, now bind it in here.
but
All right.
Well,
because I
then,
would assume that Kyle's soul is
Let's
not
see
in this
here.
world, and that the afterlife is not some shared afterlife between the different worlds.
How could a dog have appeared when we meant to summon a cat? Something in the character of the circle must be fundamentally incorrect. Perhaps if I were to streamline my methods...
It's probably because I'm not used to intoning. My circle wasn't able to keep up with the complexity of the formula either. I need to draw more precisely.
Isabel, jot out 3 magic circles for me, would you? I'll take care of this thing.
All right, give me some literature on intonation and 3 formulae. Any 3 are okay.
I beg your pardon, Eleanor.
And here
the
we have
repairs
a
to the laboratory are complete.
Female apprentice,
Ah, thanks.
which I don't know if they really
There
need
is
to
matter
have
I'd
a
like to
male and
inform you
female
of.
version
May I proceed?
of each of the characters,
Sure.
of the lower
Tell me right
unimportant
here.
characters. Her
Dr. Solari
skirt
seems to
is
be active.
really weird.
It shouldn't be long now.
It's like curved up
Alright,
to then just
you're dismissed.
shorts. That
Is
seems like a
something
weird
happening with the Guild
choice
of Assassins?
when you've already got kind of
It's
this
nothing.
outfit.
Alright, so now for the formulae.
Don't you care about this land at all? Don't you want to stop the war?
You just can't get your mind off that, can you? If those dodos want to fight, then that's just what they should do. What more is there to say?
But
it's a matter of priorities, Isabel. A war would naturally present problems, such as how we'll no longer be able to focus solely on experiments. However, stopping it would also require time. In that same amount of time, we could complete 100 spells. Don't you think it would be a waste?
you really don't care about anything other than research, do you?
No, I don't. You're just the same, aren't you?
I can't say you're wrong.
Our concentration's been broken. Let us rest for a while. Would you like any tea?
I can do without the sugar, though.
Why is it, Isabel, that you want to bring the dead back to life?
You're cutting right to the chase?
Did the other characters get
Conversation is nothing if not
fed
said.
anything?
But if you don't want to speak, then
No,
well, keep
I
your
don't.
mouth
I don't
shut.
think Arissa
I want
or
to bring back
Erica
someone I love. I just want to meet
were
him
fed
one more
any
time.
kind of food.
You've brought your magic to such heights.
If
in the name of
anything,
a
they
form
were-
of greed called love.
They were all
That's
just
not
attacked
proper,
by
is it,
magical
Isabel?
creatures.
It's a form of heresy.
Well, yes. At least in the land that I'm from, they say that resurrecting the dead is against nature's order. It's forbidden.
And still you proceed with such great enthusiasm in order to make your wishes come true. There's a chance that the one you love isn't looking for resurrection, and yet you proceed with these forms of heresy.
I wanted to give up, but I just couldn't.
You seek to fulfill your own desires above all else. That is the tale of every mage.
You
is
know,
it not?
there is this problem.
I am a mage, and therefore
Though,
I am the unwavering
because
servant of my
they
own
put you
desires.
in a
Why care
dream
about
state,
this land or its
this
people?
like fake dream in the first chapter, and each of the
I,
leaders
too, am a child of
supposedly
men.
escaped from
I
that
had a mother and
dream
a father.
state.
My mother was an average human, but for some reason
but-
she came to bear me, a child who had tens of thousands of times more magic than the average person.
So
My
it
mother was unable to withstand
is
my
possible,
power,
although
and she drew her
unlikely,
last breath just
that
as
the
I was
entirety
born.
of this chapter
Oh,
is just going to be another
My
dream
father,
state.
Well, on the day I passed
Just
the
a
entrance
better
exams for the Magus
dream state
Covenant,
than the first
his
one,
life ended.
which
I
that would
joined the
be
Magus Covenant at the
a
age of 10 and
interesting
became its marshal.
twist
It
if
was then that I made a vow.
Nexus intentionally put people
Sorry,
in
what?
dreams that they felt like they could escape,
What indeed?
so that then they
Well,
wouldn't
at
question
any
if they
rate,
were in
Isabel,
reality
I act according
in the
to my
second
own
dream.
desires. I don't act for this land.
That would be
Sorry for
fairly
making you
smart,
speak
but
about
it would
something
take
so
way too
unpleasant.
long for that reveal,
I speak of this because I wanted to.
because we're frankly
Our break
going to
is
be
over. Let us resume
at
the
the like
experiment.
20 hour mark by the time this second couple of chapters are done. And again, there's really not a lot being said there at all. It's just we're getting a little bit of backstory about the lead mage, and she's not really saying anything other than she was
Papa
just
said he
a
was glad that I was
magical
born,
child.
that even if I took Mama's life, I was meant to be. He was never good at lying. Papa,
There might
I'll
be
become
a
a mage second to none. I'll make
a
up for Mama's death.
element here where she
I made
kills her
this vow
father on
before the
accident.
gates of the Magus Covenant. I hadn't even taken the entrance exam yet. Naturally, I passed, but all the same. Papa, I'm one of the Magus Covenant's. The
Interesting, she
moment
has
I
like a
opened that door, I
blushing
nearly drowned in the scent of
animation.
blood. Papa! My father always kept a photograph of my mother with him wherever he went. That's how I knew he loved her. And I knew that that love was making him suffer. Still, to think that one could be murdered by love.
So
Isn't
apparently
that
her
right,
father
Papa?
just killed
Mama
himself
looked
the second.
shockingly like me in the photograph, so I loved her.
Yeah.
Papa
He wasn't
was an
even
inept
willing to
cook.
wait long
His
enough to
food
know if
was
she passed.
awful, but it was good enough. I loved him. He was important to me. I wasn't done loving him yet. But if that couldn't happen, then I wouldn't wish for it. But I could make a vow. I killed the one I loved and defiled the one I respected. My life has been a transgression against the order of this world. And so I'll
This is a
bloom
weird
beyond
way
the
to take it.
world's rules and beyond the blue. The number of things that I lost was enormous. Uncountable. What was taken from me was tremendous, and it can't be returned. So the least I can do is compensate. From today, from this moment on, I will be the cosmic flower. I'll bloom proudly, confidently, and I'll display to the world my incomparable value.
So it kind of sets it up where she could be the daughter replacement for the Leod Black Counter-Solari father character. Sure. But that probably won't happen. And it definitely feels like this bit of dialogue in this last scene was written first, and then a secondary writing team or a secondary writer wrote a lot of the dialogue up until this point to fill it out, because there's just kind of like nothing there. Absolutely nothing. Nothing in this story at all. And yeah, you run into a problem certainly with the fact that you have Isabel, who should be the main focus, and then you have these new characters that they want and kind of need to be the new focus also. So there's just too many main protagonists.
We've made correction after correction, and the problems just keep piling up. That is, though, well enough. The answers one finds on the other side of worrying and wavering have a value all their own.
You're right. But we should do something to refresh ourselves. What do you say we go outside?
Huh? What happens if we go outside?
What do you normally do when you reach a dead end like this?
Normally, I don't do anything special. Either change the literature I'm looking at or switch to another experiment.
That won't refresh you at all.
I've never thought that I needed refreshment in the midst of experimentation.
So you
She
spend every
seems
waking hour researching
very
or
obsessive compulsive.
Well,
But she's not really
to be
written well
accurate,
enough
I normally don't sleep
to
very
that.
much, though.
You're kidding.
Of course not.
Anyway, let's head out for now. It'll feel a bit different if we're just able to get some fresh air.
That seems
Since
grossly
they're
inefficient, but I
dealing
suppose
with
if that's how
souls
things are
and
done in
such,
your
I guess it
world,
is
there's
also
some
worth
value in
worth
trying it
mentioning
out.
that
Of
I did
course,
find
I'll-
the Lucifer card in this game,
Hey, come on already.
and it
let's
is
go.
still called Lucifer,
I'm
so
not a child. You don't
that's
need to
not
hold
being
my hand.
censored.
You can leave the attitude at home. Now come this way.
It's a pretty good card too. Like unevolved, it
This feels great.
heals
Don't you
4
think so?
damage to your leader, and then
To
when
be
you evolve
honest,
it,
I
it
don't really
deals
know.
4 damage
the air in
to
your world and
the
air in
opponent.
this world surely differ in subtle ways, and it may be that dissimilarity that's causing the difference in our perceptions.
You don't do anything to refresh yourself. You don't sleep. Hasn't anyone said anything to you about that? Like the other people in the Magus Covenant?
I am Eleanor Gloria, the cosmic flower. None dare speak against me.
Ah,
They're all terrified
she's
of her.
still young. No, still a child. And yet she doesn't even sleep, let alone do anything to refresh herself. Is she really okay?
Those eyes
Clearly
of yours,
not.
Isabel. Are you worried about me?
Well, yes, I'm a bit concerned.
You're a peculiar person indeed. You're concerned about this land, and you're concerned about me. Why can't you go straight toward what you want?
I wonder. I can't say for sure.
It does kind of give
Mother,
this
Father,
feeling
I'm sorry.
like
I'm sorry for
all
hurting
the
you.
people in this world are
crying because
not
she's lonely.
real.
She's crying
or not
because her
normal.
parents are bound to this world.
It makes them hard to
and they're
relate to.
suffering. Did I ever care about how Kyle would feel if I brought him back to life? How he'd feel if I bound him to this world?
And I guess I can lean
It's
on
just
this
like you say,
flashback
I'm always
somewhat
wavering when it
well.
comes to approaching what it is that I want.
Don't you want to bring your partner back to life?
I kind of feel like using
I wanted to do
flashbacks every
that, I
now and
still
then
do, but-
probably would help their storytelling
No,
instead of having
this isn't
them
the right way.
instead of
Move
having
on,
them try to
Isabel.
tell a new story
Don't
and
look
just
back.
failing kind of miserably at it.
I don't know.
I feel like we've
Don't
fallen
know
back
your own
down another
feelings?
step with this
I didn't know
story
that was
in
possible.
particular.
For someone who creates such complicated formulae, you can sure sound simple.
For someone who creates such simplistic formulae, you certainly get deep inside your own head.
Isabel.
Rowan.
Do you know him?
Yes. Could we have a few moments alone?
Go ahead. I'll be back in the laboratory.
You got here in one piece too, I see.
Yeah. I heard that you were in the Mages Guild and came here.
Do you still want me to kill you?
No. I needed you to see this. I finally understand now.
Interesting.
Understand the potential of commanding and controlling the Black Dragon's power.
He can do half dragon
That's your way of taking
transformation.
responsibility, isn't it, Rowan?
There's no
Nice.
simple way to do that.
And
satisfied we
while
haven't
I
taken
kind
the
of
first
hate
step.
the armor still,
But there's no guarantee.
this at
There's no
least is,
guarantee that you won't go on
I
the
think, an
rampage again.
improvement.
Yes, you're right about that.
Make me believe you, Rowan. Show me your power.
All right, I'll use this power. Not to die, but to live.
So, alright, cool. And that's a decent reason to fight, and a better reason to fight than just people fighting over petty arguments or just because the two people refuse to communicate. In a weird way,
You must have gone through so
Arissa
much in this world to
and
gain powers like
Erica's
that.
story are kind of the opposite of what Isabel's story is. In Isabel's story, there's too much communication. In Arissa and Erica's story, there's far too little.
No, I don't want to see this. I'll end up wanting to forgive you. Forgive you for murdering Kyle. Go, Rowan. I understand now.
Right.
No matter what happens to you, the facts won't change. The past won't change. Remember that. Because if you change, then I'll have to change too.
Finished yet?
Weren't you going back to the laboratory?
I'm not sure about that. I found myself wondering about you. Your bad habits appear to be contagious.
Bad habits? That's a harsh way to put it.
It's a joke. Don't take it so personally.
I know. Do I really look that down?
You certainly don't look happy.
Oh. I'm hopeless.
You know what? I think it
Whatever the
is
people
more
around
her
me do, I
voice
just
than
follow
I
along.
than
So many
than really
different
what
ways.
she's saying. I think the voice acting is
You're
just
suffering so much on account of setting your roots in
it
the
kind of has
ground.
like a
You should
nasally
set them somewhere outside the
sound to it,
world.
and certainly I'm not the person to make this
Aren't you lonely?
complaint, but
That came out of nowhere, Isabel.
there is something about the voice
Conversation's
acting here
nothing if
that
not sudden.
makes it really hard to pay
Lonely?
attention to her.
Nah, even if I were, it would be meaningless.
I don't really know. You might be right.
Yeah,
Surely you're nice and
It
refreshed
seems-
now, Isabel.
seems
Let's
kind of
return.
laid back.
Yeah, let's go. This land, this girl, Rowan. I'm always getting distracted in some way
Now,
or another.
In fairness, I will say almost everything I listen to when it's a
Or would you just
podcast
smile and laugh
or,
and tell me I'm being ridiculous?
or YouTube video, I try to play it at double speed and have gotten very used to listening to things at double speed to the point where normal speed sounds wrong for anything except for like music. Music needs to be played at its regular speed. So perhaps that has finally just conditioned me to a point where I can't even go through a visual novel section like this, because it's just so slow. But I would also say, particularly for this character, she should talk faster if she's going to be so wordy.
Getting a bit rough around the edges, Isabel. Do you want to take a break?
Either you edit it down to, do you want to take a break?
Something seems to be bothering you.
Or have her talk twice as fast.
Really? You can tell all of that just by looking at my magic?
Also,
No, I was simply
I
able
kind
to
of
read the expression
expect
on your face.
from her
You could tell from my
appearance
face?
that she
I like
would
that even
probably
less.
have a more
There's something you're
saccharine
seeking, and
sweet
there's something I'm
anime,
seeking.
like
I'm a mage,
high-pitched
and you're a mage.
voice.
But you worry me. Why's that, I wonder?
I wonder if I'm just weak.
That's what I thought at first.
I'd
But
also
that's not
argue
what I
that
think now. You're
usually in
strong,
visual
you're
novels,
intelligent, and your magic
you
is
might
rock
want to
solid.
break
The
this
same,
up
but we're different.
before
Is
you
that
get
the
to
result of our different
3
worlds?
sentences.
I'm
Like,
not sure about
you could have
that.
broken that up
It could
into
simply be
2
a
different
difference between
screens.
You and I, rather than our worlds. I've always gone too easy on myself.
Also, you can't
It's
read
been that way
ahead,
ever since
can
I
you?
remember. But especially since I was with
Like,
him.
because these text
Filled with
appears
every desire. It
as
was all I
you're
wanted. Everything
as
that
they're
I was
talking,
with him.
which
So you
probably
were taught
irritates
to be
people
this way.
who can read
Or,
fast.
I should say, you were taught to be this way.
That might be why I'm lost. No matter how much sadness or hatred is in my heart, I'm still too easy on myself.
If your behavior is learned, mine is innate. This way of life is the fate I was born into. It makes sense, then, that we'd be different.
I know that you're not as soft as I am. You see what you want and you go right for it.
It would be interesting if it turned out that Eleanor,
I'm not so sure about that.
like,
I simply
used
made a
magic on
promise.
herself to remove
In
emotion
exchange for the
and like
irreplaceable life
reduce
that
the
I loved and
need
which
to
loved
sleep.
me, I bloom outside this world. In order to make up for the life that I took, I became a worthy flower, and I stand proud to bloom like no other.
And I'm guessing
So you want to change the world in order to
her
prove
mother
your own?
died while giving birth to her.
This flower
guess
has
that's the
taken 2
idea.
lives, each
They probably
one of a
should have
kind.
repeated
It's only
that
natural
and
that I'm
mentioned it
worthy of changing the
several
world.
times, so that was
This is the
obvious.
first time that I've spoken of any such thing.
Feeling a bit better?
No, quite the contrary. My heart's feeling heavy, and it's all your fault, Isabel.
And here you have
What indecorum?
identical
What do you
twin
want,
brothers
Countess Solari?
and their sister.
Magus Covenants. Whose side are you on?
Answer wisely or you will be eliminated.
Answer.
You're telling me I'm on someone's side? Pathetic. Such complete idiocy. Don't you know my other name?
Answer, Eleanor Gloria.
In that case, I will answer you as the Cosmic Flower. I bloom for myself alone. Gaze upon me in awe and reverence.
Your actions have been judged hostile, and you will therefore be eliminated.
You worthless descendants of fallen knights! Do you think this flower can be crushed that easily?
I'll back you up. I don't know who these people are, but they need to get out of here.
So yeah, apparently the Counter Solari decided to attack. And I guess if you'd played the story the first time, you wouldn't really know who these are. And once again, we have the odd belly midriff being shown on the female Counter Solari, which, like, doesn't make any sense at all. Like, none of the main characters show any midriff. Instead, they have ridiculous belts and fashion elements to kind of bring to attention that they're not showing any midriff. And yet, in this one character, the assassin, who wouldn't want to have exposed skin more than most of the characters, they do. And maybe that's just because this is a secondary character and they were handed to a different team. Actually, you can kind of tell if you compare the art styles. This is definitely a different artist made these characters than these characters.
What was that?
There's nothing special to that technique. I simply manipulated gravity and blew them back.
They were from Counter Solari, weren't they? The Guild of Assassins.
Yeah, that's right. I swear, if they have enough free time to try ordering us around, they ought to be going after the Blade Rights instead.
Does that mean that Counter Solari and the others are going to kill each other?
That's a possibility, but not an inevitability. I don't have any other information. Sheesh, you're really concerned about this, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
This is quite
It would be interesting if it turned out that there was multiple keepers in this world,
No, wait.
and each of the guild leader was a keeper.
It's that if this world falls apart, then your friends here would have no place to go. In that case...
You're not wrong, but there's more to it. It's hard to explain. Even putting my own goals aside, I can't help but worry about things.
Alright. I don't get it, but got it. I've got that I don't get it at all. I won't worry and I won't waver. I will bloom as myself. I will bloom as a worthy flower. That I vowed.
Again, just a
However,
whole
Isabel,
bunch of
you
nonsense.
should worry more. You should waver. The answer that you worry and waver over may be one that greatly surpasses my own. I doubt it, but it's possible.
All right, let's give this a shot then.
I'll clean up the mess that Counter Solari left behind. Please wait for a bit.
Yep.
This land, that girl, Rowan, and you, Kyle.
I really have
I don't know
just
what to do about our future together.
had a horrible
I
experience
know that I
in
won't
this
be able to
past
stay with this
hour,
for long.
trying to pay
Counter
attention to
Solari,
the
Order
story.
of Blade Rights. The wheels are turning here. I need to worry and I need to waver.
To the point
have
where
to
I
find it,
think
don't I?
we
My
may
answer.
decide to just stop the main story, stop covering the main story for a while, like after this this section, these 2 chapters are done, because this is getting fairly tedious, and
The past
I'm
cannot be
definitely
wiped
having
away, and the
having trouble
present
paying
is made of
attention to
crossing
the story at this point.
Though their flesh may be near, their hearts are distant. The sun
And some
moon
of that may
never
just be
align,
insomnia on my
simply
part,
vie
but
for the same throne.
I think a lot of it really does come from just the
Fate is like the
incredible
wind that blows.
tediousness
Human
of the
wills are
way
like
the story is
tree
being
leaves at
told.
the mercy of the wind, fluttering
I
between
can't
hope
think of
and
a
despair.
single visual novel game
A
that's
power
worth
beyond
playing
human
or worth
understanding
mentioning
casts fate into
that would
disarray,
have you
and accursed fortunes
effectively
manifest.
see the same story
Thus came
from
the time of
8
war.
different people's perspectives,
Blood and flame, smoke and rubble,
and
life
not
upon
be
life.
written
What
well
do the
enough to
guided
really
ones
justify
see beyond
doing
a
that.
heartless war?
Although, in all fairness, I've only actually played 1 visual novel, and even in that visual novel there was a lot of repetition, but and that visual novel was 9 doors, 9 lives, 9 hours. But in that visual novel they also had the decency to let you skip forward and skip back through sections that you'd already done. So, like, next time we're gonna try and get through Rowan's story, and then Luna's story, and then Urias' story, and then Eris's story, and Ewan's story. In the same order as before. But yeah, I'm thinking after the Guild War conclusion, this may just be the end of the series, because this is getting really, really difficult to pay attention to. And I don't feel like Gears of Rebellion is going to potentially improve much. Although there is, I guess, a thought here. My assumption is once we hit the Guild Wars war conclusion, we go to a different area, because you have a different background here, and this looks like the same place with a different image. So if the story actually was we stay in this world for the whole future stories, that would be weird. And I don't see the reason to do that. Yeah, is there anything else to say? No, I'm just having an incredible hard time following a story. I'm in this position where you have quests now that are timed, and part of these quests are to win 15 matches single player, but then you also have this mission that comes up every day to win 3 matches ranked, unranked, or arena, which I'm really dropping the ball on that. And so that's more gameplay. Even though the daily quests themselves seem to be doable, while we have the solo stuff hanging over our head, there still is kind of a decent amount of stuff to do. I probably need to go and find some net decks and put them in my card collection so I have good decks to play, because that is also becoming a major issue, certainly. So I'm just like overwhelmed with a lot of things I kind of need to do and just haven't gotten around to it. This game is taking up all my time. I have about 5 hours worth of recording left, so I can't even do anything. I need to upload videos. I've got to just choose to do that. I've got no more free space. Alright, so we got Pompous Summons, which just looks like an anime girl on a throne with soldiers around her. I kind of would like to zoom in and look some more, but I can't. This puts a random Swordcraft follower from your deck into your hand. Rally. Put 2 Swordcraft followers into your hand. That might have been useful a few hours ago. Tropical Grouper. Interesting idea to have entire like species of fish. I don't feel like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering really have actual fish. They have like Murlocs in Hearthstone and Merfolk, mermaids type in Magic the Gathering. So, but just an actual fish that might be magical is interesting, because then that opens up the idea of, I guess you could have dolphin creatures and whale creatures and shark creatures and jellyfish creatures, and that would be very Japanese to care about aquatic life, since they spend a lot of their time near the ocean, being an island. So this has a enhance for summon a tropical grouper. During your turn, whenever an allied follower evolves, summon a tropical grouper, so it just makes more and more of them. And when it's evolved, whenever an allied follower evolves, summon another tropical grouper. Interesting. Marionette Expert. Last words, put a puppet in your hand. I think I probably already have 3 copies of that. Holy Bright Altar. I think we probably already have 3 copies of that. If an allied follower with ward is in place, subtract 1 from the cooldown. Then summon a Holy Winged Dragon. Curmudgeon Ogre. I think we have one of those already. Enhance 6, give +1/+1 to all Bloodcraft followers. If Vengeance is active, give +2/+2 instead. Titanic Showdown, I'm fairly certain we have one of those. Let's see. Madcap Conjunction, this might be new. Discard your hand. If at least 2 spells were discarded, draw 5 cards. If at least 2 followers are discarded, destroy all followers. If at least 2 amulets were discarded, summon 2 clay golems and deal 2 damage to the enemy leader. So theoretically you could play this if you had 6 cards and get all 3 of those to activate, but that would be kind of a hard card to to play with. And last we have Whiplash Imp, which I guess she's got like a magical dragon type creature flying around. I thought maybe she was kicking you, but you can kind of see that both of her feet are on the ground. Oh, it's not a magical dragon, it's a magical whip in her hand. She's swinging it, or she's on the backswing of swinging a whip. Yeah, I guess it makes a little bit more sense in that visuals. If Wrath is activated for you, gain +1/+4 in Rush. Enhance, summon an Imp Lancer. See what an Imp Lancer looks like. Yep, here's one of those anime girls that are fairly scantily clad. Imp Lancers just have Storm. And yeah, they just add a little bit more to the wings and the reddishness of the everything. Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious though. Even though I really can't do it, I need to take a break. Like there's just something here that is sucking the energy out of me like crazy. And so yeah, I'm going to have to do that. I'm gonna just need to take a break. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.